Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I am chatting with Lori from Foto Vibe. So she actually started her business as a photo booth company and then added balloons as an add-on, which turned into almost a full other business. So it's a really interesting episode talking about different ways to diversify your business. I mostly do balloons. I have a couple of prop rentals with my marquee letters and backdrops, but for the most part, I'm strictly balloons. However, there are a lot of people out there where balloons are just part of their company, and Lori is one of those business owners. So it's interesting to hear how she found balloons, how she manages both companies through the same system. And then we also talk about something that was really inspiring to me, and that was finding a niche decorating boats. So I am in a resort community. We have a lot of lakes around us. And this conversation, I hear like the light bulbs going off in my own head, because the way she explains her relationships with different vendors, in her case, this boat rental place, it unlocked a new world of possibilities for me. So I am currently reaching out to not only vendors, but venues to try to set up some of these partnerships that Lori talks about in this episode. So a very cool episode. I think lots of action steps, even if you have no intention of starting a photo booth business. It is definitely an episode where you will have a takeaway. So let's take a break and head to the UGlue hotline for some great advice, and then get into this interview with Lori. Welcome to the UGlue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks. Brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, Sarah. My name is Tanya, and I am located in Atlanta, Georgia, and my company is called Celebrate Events. And I have just listened to your 24-hour sales challenge podcast, and my head is running. Thank you so much for all of that content. But I did have a question for you regarding the email marketing. I have listened to your past podcast about email marketing, and it's something that I've been kind of holding off this year. But with that new podcast from this week, I'm more intrigued and more excited to actually get that started. But as far as the logistics for email marketing, can I just email anybody that has contacted me before or that I've worked with before? Or do I have to have some kind of like disclaimer on my website stating if you leave your email with me or at any point in time, if you work with me, I will be sending you regular emails. I just don't want to, get anybody upset and just start sending them emails. But that's my only question for now. It's just more of the do's and don'ts, I guess the legalities with the email marketing, or if it's just a free game and we can email whoever, whenever. But thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoy the content. I'm excited for newer podcasts, and thank you. Talk to you soon.
Okay, this is a really good question, and I had to do a little Googling before I could record my answer because I'm not overly concerned with the rules. I use a platform that kind of makes me adhere to those rules, so we'll get a little bit into that. The thing I do want to say is that email marketing rules are much stricter in other countries. I know the UK and Australia are crazy strict about this. So the US is not as concerned with email marketing rules. So that is what I'm going to be referring to. However, what it says online is that in order to comply with email marketing laws, you have to ensure you have permission to email people. You can't use misleading header information, identify that your email is an advertisement, include your address, and include a way to opt out. So that has to be included, a way to like unsubscribe if people don't want to receive your emails anymore. Now, Almost all of those are addressed if you use something like MailChimp or Flowdesk. That's Flodesk. That is what I currently use. Those two options make sure that you have all of those things included, like your address and the opt-out. Those are just built into the platform, and you can't send an email if you don't have that information updated in their platform. So that takes care of most of them. The big one is ensure you have permission to email people on your list. Now that's pretty vague. I think personally, my interpretation is that if someone has filled out my lead capture form and left their email in hopes that I will respond to them, they have given me permission to contact them by email. Again, it's pretty wishy-washy. There's some people that ask for consent. You could put a little blurb on there saying, we will contact you by email. But isn't that what they're saying when they give you their email address, right? Like if someone didn't want you to contact them by email, they have the option of not giving you their email. So I think once someone has filled out my lead capture form and reached out for information, I think email marketing is a way of providing them that information. So even if they don't book with me the first time, I still feel like they have given me their email so that they receive updates so that in the future they could potentially work with me. So that is just my interpretation of that rule. I think there's probably people listening who think I'm doing it wrong, that there should be a special opt-in button. And there actually is a way to add that in platforms as well. That's called double opt-in. So if you're extra worried about this, you can add someone to the list and they'll actually get an email saying so-and-so wants to add you to their newsletter. Is this something you agree to? And then they can double opt-in and click yes. I think that's overkill. I think most people probably will delete that email and not even open it. I wouldn't overthink it, is what I'm saying. I think if getting permission is the thing that's holding you back from starting to email market, don't worry about it. Just go for it. Just start on an above board platform like MailChimp, which is free up to 2,000 people. Actually, I think it's less now. I think it's like 1,000 people. And Flowdesk, which is low, it's like $20 a month. And they will make sure that your emails are being delivered in the way that they're supposed to. And if someone really is upset or doesn't want to be on your email list, that's why they have that unsubscribe button. So the thing you want to avoid is like buying marketing lists or like taking other people's email lists or just like Googling random emails and adding them to your list. And you wouldn't want to do that anyway because those people aren't interested. Like they're not going to buy from you. So as long as I think you're working with customers or people who have reached out to you, I think it's totally fair game. And that's how I started my list. I'm up to like 2,500 people on my list. And I swear every time I send out a newsletter, I usually get a booking. Sometimes I just get friendly emails in return of people saying how great I'm doing and how they're encouraging me. It's great. I love email marketing. I know it's kind of old school, but it seriously works. And don't use the rules and being scared of if you have permission or not to be the thing that keeps you from getting started. Just pick a platform, send out your first little blast, and see what happens. Thanks for calling in. Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on U-Glue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. Welcome to this episode, Lori. I'm so excited to chat with you because you not only do balloons, but we are talking about your photo booth business and some niches that you have discovered within the balloon business. So welcome to the podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us where you are and what you do.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lori Balsman and I own Foto Vibe. I'm based in Orange County, California, technically Costa Mesa, Newport Beach area. And we're really close to like the beaches and the coastline and the waters. And I service all of like LA, Orange County, San Diego. I'll go to Inland Empire, really just wherever the client is and wants to spend the money.
Absolutely. So you were doing photo booths first and then started doing balloons?
Yes. So I was working a corporate job, a 9-to-5, kind of took a turn for the worse. And I really was looking at having something of a creative outlet. I'm more creative by nature. And so I started a photo booth company. I'd always been to weddings and different parties and was obsessed with the photo booths, but I always felt like, wow, it's kind of cheesy with the props and like the backdrops, or the photo quality was really dark.
Yeah.
Or the graphics on the printouts were kind of cheesy. So I just in my mind started thinking like, oh my gosh, I could do this better. And I was driving one morning and I heard like a news ad on the radio stations about a photo booth, which was kind of like so weird.
Yeah.
And I heard it a second time and I'm like, is this a sign? So I
Yeah.
kind of like wrote the information down. I followed up with that company. And then I ended up going and doing like a meetup with them, and they
Okay.
walked me through like their booth and how it worked and their processes and like their suggestions on like the back end CRM systems to use.
So like, were they selling to you, or were they a
Yes.
competitor that you were just like, I'm learning everything so I can
No,
start my
they
own?
were
Oh, okay.
like a company that sold the booths setup and
Okay,
the whole.
cool.
So I looked into it and I kind of did the math and I was like, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I pulled the trigger and I was working full time and doing that on the weekends. Cause as you know, event world is just pretty
Yeah.
much the weekends, but it was super fun. And I definitely didn't count on like all the additional items you need. So more backdrops, specialty props, like building the website. So I thought I'd have it paid off the first year, but it really took about 2 or 3 just because all the stuff I kept buying.
Sure.
But
So
now it's,
can
pays
Can
for
you
itself.
tell me like what kind of photo booth? Is it like one of those that like runs off an iPad? Is it like an actual box you go inside?
Yeah,
Like,
so the kind that I first bought, because I've moved on to a second style now, it's the open air photo booth. So,
Okay.
You're not enclosed, it's all open, which allows for more guests to kind of fit into the framework of the picture. I think it's way more flexible just in the sense of like what you can do for the backdrop, because that was always like a big focus for me is
Right.
like I felt like a pretty presentation was definitely attracting more people in, and then having more of unique and specialty props versus like feather boas and
yeah. So what are some of your unique
glasses.
ones? Like, yeah, because those are really corny. They're like glasses on a stick
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
just
like
feel
that.
like you can go to Party City and buy that. So when I'd be out shopping or online, finding specialty things, some stuff that were really popular were these glasses that look like kaleidoscopes. So you put them on, and I always called them the drunk glasses because
okay.
it was like 10 of something, but they looked beautiful in photos.
Okay.
And we did flower crowns. We still do like specialty, like more unique, like different crowns, but it's like not necessarily little girl looking. It's kind of like could be all ages.
Yeah.
Like some faux flowers. There's just like kind of funny stuff. Like there's a visor that looks like a disco ball. So
Okay.
it's got like disco reflection on it and little fringe and popsicles and ice creams. Like any type of food thing is so popular.
Cute.
And it's just really cute to have like really fun, vibrant props in photos.
Yeah.
And people go crazy, and it's like the best feeling just seeing how happy people are and they're laughing. And that's really what kind of drew me into that world, because at the time, my corporate job, I was definitely not happy. And it was just like, people are getting upset over not sending an email or like being late to a meeting. And you're just
Right.
like, oh God, is this the meaning of life here? So definitely shifting into that was like a really good feel good type of thing. And I really attracted me into that. And so doing that, I learned to do balloons because I was like, hey, the balloons would be, I kept seeing them in my area through Instagram and noticed more and more of it like becoming a trend. But I think even more so like before the pandemic. So maybe like a year before the pandemic. So I took a course and I learned how to do it. And I bought all these balloons and all these colors, and they just kind of sat around, in my garage. And I kept trying to like promote it and push it, but it just kind of wasn't really like people liked it. And I would sell it as an upgrade to the backdrop. But really the balloons took off for me right during the pandemic because all sales for the photo booth closed or kind of put on pause, or people were kind of just like, they'd paid their deposit. They weren't asking for it back. They were just trying to like everyone just kind of sitting still to see what was really going on. And so, I tried to start pivoting where I started offering balloon garlands. And if people had paid for their photo booth, they weren't sure. I was like, hey, what about, we could offer this and drop it off for you. So a lot of people took me up on that.
Yeah.
And then I just saw an opportunity where I was like, hey, I can just like start pushing this. So I not only promoted it on my my business Instagram, but then I started pushing it personally. And that's where I think I really got traction, because then it was a lot of more friends that were like, oh my gosh, like it's my mom's birthday. I can't go over there. Can you go like set up on her patio, you know?
Yeah. So, okay. So I was under the impression that from the photo booth, you started doing balloons and then the balloons went crazy, but it was kind of like photo booth and then you sort of did balloons, but it wasn't like your
Yeah.
bread and butter. And then because you had that different skill set over the pandemic, you were able to pivot. That's very cool.
Yeah. So that's it. I never ever thought it would launch it into
Yeah.
like, so it's,
So then
you know,
okay, fast forward through the pandemic, it was insane. It sucked,
Yeah.
but actually it was good for balloons in my area. But how now are you juggling this booming balloon business and this photo business? Like do they cannibalize each other or how does that work?
No, I'm definitely busier with the balloons. And so people know that I do the photo booth. And if they don't, we always like say, hey, you know, we offer these other services because now we also do party curation where we can kind of come in and party plan for you, or we can just do like the day of setup. I have some clients that hire us from everything to just like the day of to just balloons. You know, we do the marquees, we do custom backdrops. I just did a camp for this local charity called Rad Camp, and they're amazing. They do a week-long camp for kids with disabilities. And we set up the entire stage. So it was a circus theme. So it's like the raddest show. And so it was like the raddest camp. So we did this whole circus tent set up. It was awesome. We set it up for 2 weeks. So we like went back, broke it down, went back and set it up. And then we also do their photo booth for like their special like dance night. And so a lot of clients know we do both. And it's really nice because it's integrated. And then they can be like, well, okay, that's your like, you know, backdrop that just comes standard with your booth.
Yeah.
But like, what else can you do? And so that's where.
Are they all under different names or is it all under one business?
All under Foto Vibe.
Foto Vibe. Okay.
Made it easy.
Interesting. Because I know there's a lot of balloon people that also have like a single photo booth and they'll offer that as a potential upgrade, which is kind of the backwards model of what you did. Do you think that's a viable option investment wise and time wise? Or would you say if you're just doing balloons and making a living doing that, stick with that? Or do you think that it's good
if you're making a living doing the balloons, stick with that.
Okay, interesting.
It's expensive. It's a lot of technical. You have to have staff or other people because I've had two different styles. I have three different styles of booths. I have a digital booth, which is the iPad, which is great, but the quality is honestly like it's good for a party.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you're going to use for marketing purposes or, you know, to, I don't know, frame your family reunion.
Yeah. Right.
So then the other booth is the DSLR booth, which is the high grade camera. And that is great because you can set that to like super high quality photos. You get an online album where you can download everything. You can share it with your guests. They can, you know, post it or whatnot. But it's a lot of technical as I've learned over the years. And it's frustrating at times. It is so stressful. I mean, you know, going and setting up an event and there's all these things out of your control just for balloons. Well, think of that with the technical aspect, like the camera won't turn on or there's a plug missing or, you know, you forgot the extra roll of paper and ribbon and you're an hour and a half away. Like,
so I'm getting anxiety just as you talk about this.
And there's
like,
so much stuff, but like I've done this so long now, it's going on 7.5 years. I have checklists for things. My team knows we have different bags associated with like the different booths. And so I've had my equipment for, you know, like 6 years now. And so this year, we just got a new booth, which is a lot more portable. It's a lot easier. It doesn't take two people. We can do it with one person for the setup.
Okay.
So it's just like time blocking and allowing like to know like, you know, what the event is, like what the backdrop is and allowing like enough time for all that. But
right. How long?
If you're doing balloons, stick with it.
Yeah. How long after doing it yourself were you able to hire out some of those responsibilities?
I would say that like right when I kind of started the photo booth world, I quickly realized that I needed help.
Yeah.
Because the style of booth I bought, it looked like a giant iPhone and it was awesome because you can see yourself in the screen, but to carry it around, like I had to have a dolly and in the beginning I needed two people. And if you have stairs or any sort of incline. It just, you need help. So
Yeah.
I kind of always hired like part-time people to help.
Mhm.
And then from there, those part-time people have kind of just been with me for years. And
Yeah.
so I've trained them in the balloons, and I've trained them in, we're doing florals, and like, just like, I had an assistant for a year, and she was great and had a really good eye for design. So it's just kind of all those different elements, but it's not easy. There's I see a lot of new booths out there and new people starting the business, and it's such a fun industry, but man, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I feel like I know I am not designed for this. I wouldn't want to stay at the party and like interact with people. I would be like, I'm freaking tired and you're drunk and I can't handle this. So I am not the ideal person, but I do think it's an interesting way to diversify. Like you said, there's a lot of people where they're into the balloons, and like now their husband wants to get involved, or their son or daughter is old enough to kind of participate. I could see that being a really good way to kind of have another offering, maybe a high ticket offering that kind of works with what you do. But like you said, you need the people, you need help.
You need help. And if you have like, gosh, your husband or a family member or brother that's super techie that could like keep up to date on all the software and, the linking system, because the printer and the camera and the computer and like keeping all those updates running, that's amazing. I pay like a monthly IT person.
Oh, okay.
But even then it's not, you're on a job and it's not working and you don't have Wi-Fi, so they can't really help. So then you're going on the phone and it's music pumping in the background. You can't hear. There's just like always something. So we have like a manual of like a checklist for the girls that work with me to like go through first to like kind of like, I don't know, like check everything.
Yeah. Troubleshoot themselves. Yeah.
Troubleshooting. Yeah. But even then it's stressful. I've really only had like out of the last 7 years, like 1 or 2 events where it was like, we just couldn't.
Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
An outside event. They said the electricity was there, but it wasn't. So it didn't work. And then another one, it shorted. The electricity kept shorting because it was like a DJ and us.
Oh, well, then that's not even your fault. That's just like
that was
the venue.
Yeah. It was stressful on New Year's this year because we had an event and there was torrential downpour in California for months and months. And so we're trying to move this photo booth from our van into the person's garage setup. And it was just like so much rain, and we're covering it with blankets, and we get it there and we're literally 2 hours early, and it just would not turn on. And it would turn on and it would work for like 2 photos, and then it would go dark again. And it was so stressful. I had to leave. I had to go get our second booth.
Oh gosh.
And it just, you don't feel good about that.
Yeah.
So, you just kind of have to make it up. We always, if we don't start on time, then we stay extra in the back end of it.
Yeah.
But it costs money for me because I'm paying the team.
Right. Are you ready to take your balloon business to the next level? Look no further than Having a Party Wholesale, your ultimate destination for all things balloons. At Having a Party Wholesale, they're not just a distributor, they're your partner in success. With the latest and greatest in balloon innovations, they're on the cutting edge of new products that will wow your clients. From top brands like Tuftex, Jamar, Anagram, Ellie's, Premium Conwin, and more, they've got the widest selection to fuel your creativity. Elevate your balloon business with premium quality balloons and accessories that'll make every event unforgettable. Join the successful league of professional balloon artists who shop at havingaparty.com. Well, and so you mentioned before we started recording that I have a lot that I want to talk about. First, before we talk about your niche that you've discovered within balloons, let's just chat really quick about 17 hats. This doesn't need to turn into a 17 hats commercial. Everyone already knows I love them, but you've been using them for a long time.
Yeah.
And you use it to manage all of your businesses?
Everything.
Okay.
So the photo booth, florals, the Duffy sales that we do for the Duffy decoration, the party planning, quotes. I mean, I honestly could not function without this. I have
same.
much on my plate. And honestly, like when I started the photo booth business, they suggested using 17's hats. That's the like CRM system. I didn't even know what CRM was. I didn't understand. But they're like, this is how you can invoice clients. And so it was great because I could send a quote. A lot of people are, they're like, I want it for 3 hours. And I was like, okay, we offer a 2-hour package or a 4 hour. So if you want a third hour, it's X amount additional hours. So then they'd usually just bump up to the 4-hour package.
Sure.
But they would see that in the quotes. And then, sending an invoice and then paying with credit card was so easy.
Yeah.
And then really I found your podcast and I heard you talking about 17 hats years ago. And I was like, this chick does 17 hats too. Like I had never known anyone else.
It's really fun when you start connecting with other people that use it. You can find workarounds and you have people to chat with about like, well, how do you structure this? And how does your auto reminder go out? And it makes it
automated emails, like for the inquiries have been life-saving. The reminders for like grab and goes, like, oh, hey, your Duffy boat's scheduled for tomorrow. Here's the details. Just so like, it's so life-saving because, just giving people information is really what they want. And as life happens, you're so busy. And this just really is like that assistant that you didn't even know you needed.
Right. Well, and I would imagine with you, it's really important because you have like different areas within your same business. Like for me, it's all balloons, but for you, it's like all these different things. I would imagine workflows and stuff. Like you have to be a pro. But you've mentioned this twice, so I want to talk about it. Huh? What are Duffy boats? This is the niche that you have found.
Okay, so Duffy boats. We're in California and we have harbors. So it's very mellow areas. So Duffy is an electric boat. They're like a plug-in boat. And then you can rent them, anywhere. We service Long Beach. We service Huntington Beach. We service Newport Beach, even down further, Dana Point, San Diego, all these harbors in the coastal areas have Duffy boats and they're really fun. They took off during the pandemic because people could be on them outside with their family.
Oh, okay.
And so they're covered, and they seat anywhere from 4 to 12 people.
Okay.
Depending on the length.
I had to look them up right now. I can't even
Yeah, they're super chill. It's super fun. People take them out for every type of celebration. You can rent them for like a 2-hour to 4-hour period, just depending on where you can find them.
Okay.
And so I have a girlfriend that owns a Duffy company in Newport Beach. And so she was like, hey, I'm getting a lot of requests for people wanting like decorations. Can you do something? And I was like, sure. So we started doing the balloons, and the fact that the balloons obviously that we use are super high quality and they're, biodegradable and recyclable. I felt really good about using them on the water. And so the way that we assemble them for the Duffys is on a high gauge fishing line so that they're really durable and strong and they're connected. I don't use the 5-inchers on any of the Duffy garlands just because those tend to kind of maybe fall off. Okay. So it's very specific in the way we assemble them. And there's no Mylars and no foils because those aren't allowed on the water here. And so we also customize them. So on say one of the larger 24 to 36 inch size balloons, we can customize it to say, happy 21st birthday, Sarah. And people will go over the moon for that. So
interesting.
It's really fun, and that's like an add-on. We've done tassels made of more of the plastic material so that they withstand the wind, and those look super cute.
So they're not like tissue paper, disintegrating in the water. Okay.
Right. And then we started just doing balloons, and then we kind of got into doing the table decor on the inside.
Okay.
So those are different packages. We offer Duffy concierge, where we could pick up the ice for you, or we can go and pick up your prepaid food for you within so many miles of
So that's a whole nother business.
Yeah. So we're really busy with that. It dies down in the colder months, and then in the rainy season, obviously, but then summer and spring, it's just super busy because people do anniversaries, they do birthdays, bachelorettes. I mean, I've gotten the gamut of any type of event, a lot of kids' birthdays, adult birthdays.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Interesting. Well, I'm in a resort town. We have tons of boats. We're on a lake. They're not these Duffy boats, but
we do other boats too.
It's kind of an interesting niche to focus in on.
Yeah, it is, because it's not, people want to celebrate when they're going on these boats with friends. And I mean, I've rented the Duffy boats many times, or other boats, and it's such a schlep to get all your stuff.
Yeah.
And bring it there and get there early. And then you're running late because of parking. So we just kind of handle all that for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you pay a service fee, you're going to pay a premium.
Right. Yeah.
You can just literally, we just say, you just show up,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you built out like its own little website for this service?
Yeah. So I was getting hit up so much on our Duffy package, like on the pricing for it. And so I was so tired of like copy pasting from my notes. And this was a couple years ago. So it was like even more. And then like Instagram's changed where you can save replies. So I have all that, but at the time it wasn't an option. Then I just stayed up super late for like a week building out like little mini microsites at like 2-3 in the morning of like, okay, here's the packages, here's what you can get, here's the add-ons. And then I don't have those prices listed on my site, but you email with your inquiry and then you get like a response and you can get the link, to see it. So, and it just makes it super easy. I use your color chart that you did. And so I bought that and I have that color chart updated with all of our offerings and we, offer all that. So.
Hi, this is Jeff from Balloon Suite by Asset Lab. We help balloon decor businesses bring in more sales and leads with a high-tech toolkit that includes your website, your domain, your advertising, your search engine optimization. Our plans start at $50 a month, and we'll even buy out your Wix or Squarespace or GoDaddy subscription to help you get onto a platform that's made for and optimized for your business in balloon decor. Check us out at balloonsuite.com.
So then what is the touch point situation? Like, is it intensive or is it like you never talk to them? Like, what's the range of this booking process?
Usually it's just literally automated emails and they'll get like the link, they'll click on it and they'll say, okay, we want package 2, Lori, and we want to do happy 45th birthday, Rob. And I want dark blue, pale blue, and chrome silver.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, our chromes are additional $25. No problem. That's what I want. I'm like, or you can put out and do a white, or whatever it is. And they're like, okay. So it's maybe like 2 emails back and forth. Usually not, because Nicole has built out all my questions for me on my form. So they're all right there of like everything I need to know. Occasionally some people, will change or they want to add on something, but it's really easy.
Yeah. Okay. So this weekend, I am delivering, I have my marquee numbers, right? Like the light up ones. And they just wanted like a little garland on it, but they have rented a boat. We have like a marina and they've rented a boat that will come to their home. Like they have a house on the lake. So they'll bring the boat to their dock and then they're going to
decorate their boat.
Well, that's what I'm doing. That's what the numbers are for. And I'm just like in my head thinking like, if I get pictures of the light up numbers on this specific boat that you can rent if you're in my town with the balloons, I could turn that into a little package and either do it for them or like they're going to just carry the numbers on when they're ready and just stick them. It's like freestanding, Yeah. So I'm like, that's a really interesting angle to kind of make that rental option available. Cause I think people feel comfortable anytime you've done something that maybe they haven't. Like, I've decorated this venue or I've done these boats before. Yep. I think you provide.
Can show them photos. Then they're like, and that's
oh my gosh, I need to do this. This is
the whole packaging thing that we do is we show the photos. Here's package 1, here's package 2, here's package 3. And then we show additional photos of like, if you wanted to, we have like just the balloons or we have what we call party vibes package. So depending on how many guests you have is the price. And that would include like inside decorations. So like a table runner and then the plates and the cups and the napkins and like the whole thing. And then we include like flowers with it and then decorations like overhead tassels. So everything's like attached to the boat. And just have to really make sure that it's compliable with like the different water like regulations. But we just stay on top of that. But people love the convenience and it looks so pretty when you're walking up and then they're driving around, they're cruising in the harbor.
Yeah.
It's all decorated and people are like waving because it looks so fun.
That is really cool. And now I'm thinking out loud, this woman, this is so funny. If I had not talked to you, I never would have connected the dots on this. She actually told me, she's like, well, I have to go, I'm delivering at 9 just because like that's my schedule in the morning, but they're not going to go out onto their little boat cruise until later in the day, which is why they're putting them on the boat themselves. But she told me, she's like, you could also go to the marina. They said that they would keep them in their little boathouse and they would put them on the boat closer to the party if you prefer. And I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm coming to your house to decorate anyway. Why don't I just drop them with you? But now I'm wondering if there's also a conversation with the marina to be like, is this a package you guys would want to sell? And I'll just deliver it to you every time and you guys put it on the boat. Like if it's a freestanding thing.
Yes, Sarah. Yeah. I reached out to the local Duffy businesses and there's, a good 2 handfuls of that type of rental. And some of them don't allow any outside decorations from any vendors. So, I know who those people are. And then I have my handful of the ones that do. And then it's gotten to the point where it's like become so popular. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. So then, I've had to implement service fees because they want to get paid too.
Yeah.
So we've worked partnerships with them and that's okay. It just maybe sometimes weed out people that don't have as big of a budget that would like to, but then that's where I offer our grab and goes. If you want to do it yourselves, they can come get their grab and go and they can self-install.
Right. Well, I'm thinking if they were the ones who sold the package at an upgrade and they take whatever they want and then, or, some sort of deal where it's like everyone's benefiting, man, I totally think there's a market here for that. I think there's a lot of people that are listening that live in communities with lakes or boats or something. I never thought of,
you're always just thinking home and like venues, but like,
right. This is essentially the same model as being a preferred venue or preferred vendor at a venue, but you'd be a preferred vendor on boats. It's so smart. Like I
think
totally
you just
feel
need to, do some trial and errors because you don't want the balloons falling off. I've seen some bad videos.
Oh my gosh. There's that one where the guy is just like blatantly popping them into the water. It's like,
I've seen some where like they've unraveled, not from us, but I don't know who it was. And they're just literally falling off. There is a vendor, a boat rental company we used to work with. We did a lot of business. They got greedy. They were like asking for this huge percentage from us. And I just said, no, I can't do that. And so then they started doing them themselves and I've seen it and it's like, oh,
Yeah. But that's another reason why you can kind of brag about your education. And like, the way I do them is secure. The balloons I use are strong. Like this, you're not going to have as good of luck if you go to the dollar store and use little thin, cheapo balloons, but that
are going to pop because you're outside. It's sunny, you got to know, like you can't really put black out there in the middle of summer.
Well, and the beauty of what I think is like, you're decorating the same space over and over. So once you know what looks good, the install isn't hard. Like, what to attach it to.
The biggest question we have from clients is like, well, is it going to be set up before we get there? And I always tell them, yes, we arrive 15 to 20 minutes prior to your reservation time. Now, granted, sometimes the boats are running late, like the boat staff, like cleaning or whatever, or people come back late. So we can't control that, but we're there in time. And it literally takes us anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes for setup.
And what is it? So what do you do? You said garlands, but like, do you like decorate like the front of the boat or like, is it freestanding? I wish I had a
picture, but I could always
We can go to your Instagram and find some.
You can go to my Instagram, look at the feed.
And it's Foto Vibe?
It's Foto Vibe Party.
Okay.
And photo is with an F. So, it's confusing for fun. And then, go to the website and even my website and see photovibeparty.com. But we decorate the side of the boat. So we say it's the dock side of the boat because that's the side we can actually access.
Okay.
And it's along the railing of the front of the boat under the canvas cover. We attach it really strongly. And then if it's inside, we attach to like the railing. It just depends on the package. Sometimes we do a cluster in the corner so that it's out of the driver's view. Like all the things have kind of been thought through and worked out with the owners of the boat company. And it just works. And it makes, because think when you're inside a boat, you're taking pictures, not only of like what you're seeing, but also, your family or friends. And so when you have this beautiful cluster over your back corner, and maybe it's branded with like birthday girl or happy anniversary or whatever, it just makes really cute,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love it. Because I've done a boat a couple of times. And the first time I was like, never again. And then I did it one other time because I ignore my own rules, but it was hot. The parking was hard, lugging all that stuff in. And then what they ordered was just like way too big, like literally hit the ceiling of the boat. Like we have boats here that are kind of, they look like these Duffy boats. They're a little bigger and they're almost like double decker. So we do like tours. And so there's like a ceiling on the first floor and all the helium balloons like hit the ceiling. So then I had to like redo it. And like everything was short and squatty. It was, and it sucked. But I think if I figured out where to park and where the balloon's going to go and what time to be there, and like really worked out all of that with the actual marina, and then knew exactly what to put on the boat. Yeah. Like problem solved. That would be
And you could just
such a
offer
service.
packages, like here's a package with this, here's a package. And you can like tell clients like, well, that's actually not going to fit because, you know, in your experience, like you become this like expertise in it. Like,
yeah. Or like those balloons aren't allowed. Like they're not going to let you bring those on. Like you can order them, but like you're not going to bring them on your boat. So
yeah,
we're not going to do that. That's really smart. I love that.
So yeah, it's
Very
been
cool.
really fun. And, you know, we've kind of adjusted as the years have gone on and, you know, kind of like know how much time to allow for parking and like, you know, much time to get from point A to point B. And so, you know, stuff always happens, things always change, but it's like, it's just fun. And we've got really good partnerships with the people we work with now. And so the big thing now that's been happening with the Duffy boats are people are doing like colored Duffy boats. So there's like the pink Duffy boats, which are super cute.
Okay.
And
oh my gosh, I feel like I need to start a Duffy boat company after this conversation.
I'm
like, these would be so popular on my little touristy lake. Like we have all these bachelorette parties, we have all these things, but oh my gosh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah. So we also do yachts too, because there's a lot of like bigger boats out here. So it just depends. Like, I mean, you know, can kind of balloon anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very true to kind of all of our businesses too, how it's like you started with the photos, which kind of led to the balloons, which then you kind of discovered this niche with the Duffy boats. Like I feel like that is kind of the nature of this industry, is like you're always kind of discovering these little niches and filling them. Or sometimes, you know, you go for it and it doesn't work, but it's just kind of trial and error. And none of it's too far out of the realm of like parties, but I think when you can find that unique offering, that's where all of a sudden it feels really easy and there's a demand and you're kind of the one to provide the service. So that's really cool.
And it's so true what they say, like you sell what you post.
Yeah.
You know? So the more photos you have, the more you show it, you know, people are like, oh, wow. Like, you know, I mean, we don't only do, you know, boats, we also do balloons and the backdrops. And so the panel backdrops are huge for us as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Where we can customize those with, you know, future misses, you know, whatever, your birth date or whatever the client wants for their celebration and, you know, adding the balloons to it. So we do that a lot. That's kind of a lot of what we're doing.
So then it sounds like you have a lot of stuff. Like what is your home-based business / warehouse situation? Like where are you actually located?
I had a storage unit for a long time and they just kept raising the price on it. I mean, it got to the point where I was like, it was like $600 a month. And I was like, I cannot. So
you're like, I could almost rent an office.
Yeah. So I had moved last year from a smaller place to a bigger home. And so I have like a bigger 2-car garage now, which obviously I use that as my studio. And then when I closed the account for the storage unit, I bought an outside like shed, like a 10 by 10. And I hired some guys to come and assemble it for me. And like, it's aesthetically pleasing. So it's not some weird eyesore in the yard.
Yeah.
So I put that, and I can't tell you, like, it is so convenient, like to walk out. I needed the cooler the other day for transporting some grazing boxes and a cake for a client. And that was just like right here. I didn't have to like drive down the street and wait for it to be open and punch in the code. And, like, roll
I
up
know.
the door
I really like being home based too. Even if I had a space, I feel like I would still bring stuff back here just because I'm lazy. I don't know. I know some people really love that separation, but I like home based. I think it works really well for me.
Well, it works for me. I have 2 young kids, so it's just really convenient to be able to, you know, if they're napping or you know, it's the weekend and I can kind of get them settled and they're playing. I can be in the garage and kind of take care of stuff. And so
it is so hard with kids. It is just, we talked about this a little bit before we started. It is just like next level. I only have 1 and it is so hard. Like you have 2, I just juggling it all, especially with those weekends. Like it's so hard. And before they're in school full days, it's just like, what are other people doing? Share your secrets. Cause I'm just this is so hard. I have
both my kids in preschool during the week, Monday through Friday, they're in preschool. So that gives me like a window span, you know, of like 5 hours or something to get everything done. I have one girl that comes on a Thursday, pretty much a full day for me. And so we do a lot of prep work on those days. if we have events or installs or setups or anything like really big happening that week, then a couple of the girls can come in during the week. We had a huge event last week on Tuesday where we had to go up to Los Angeles and we set up this beauty conference, and we left at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh gosh.
Be up there and setting up at 7 a.m. We were done by 9:30. It was great, but like I had to figure out like a sitter to be at my house at like 5 a.m. So there was somebody here for my kids, and just, it's a lot of late nights, and there's some days where you're like, is this worth it? And then you get those projects or those jobs or those clients, and they're so thankful and grateful, or you get like such a high off of feeling so accomplished.
Absolutely. You're like, I did that. You look back at the pictures. You're like, that looks like I actually know what I'm doing. Like that's professional. And I did that.
Yeah, it's really fun. I love it. I know this is where I'm supposed to be.
That's awesome. Well, oh my gosh, I am so inspired. I have all these notes that I'm just going to go and I know exactly who I'm going to email. I'm so excited to try to set up a partnership. I'm
inspired by you and listening to your podcast for years. Just, everything that you've talked about, I try to implement, I look into, and it's just really helped. I mean, I've recently set up an S Corp, and that's been a whole whirlwind, and then doing payroll. But like, I think you give really good business advice and good business tips. And I like that you can laugh at yourself. And it's been really helpful,
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so weird to hear you say years, but yeah, it has been years that the podcast is going. I still feel like I'm figuring it out, but no, I love it. Cause I learn just as much from these interviews as I'm able to share. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And tell us again, where can we go look at your work and your boats? It's Foto Vibe.
Instagram. It's at Foto Vibe Party.
Okay.
And photo is with an F. So
Perfect.
FOTO. And then also the website is photovibeparty.com.
All right. Well, I can't wait to go stalk all of your photos. I'm so excited to implement what you just chatted about.
Cool. Well, thanks, Sarah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.